And welcome on this July 3rd to Weather and Ag in Focus 106 in the afternoon. Thank everybody for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. And we do have Justin. Justin just got in here, and Meteorologist Justin Storm. How you guys doing today? It's a good day to play hooky, isn't it? It's a beautiful one out.
Doing well, Dean. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm
Bridgette?
here.
Well, I was going to say, if it's a good day to play hooky, how in the world is Dean still here?
Dean's gone after Weather and Ag. Dean's out of here.
Okay.
No, it's a beautiful day out. Temperatures upper 70s, should top out in the lower 80s. A few fair weather cumulus clouds, but it should be a dry day today. So today might be the pick day out of the next 5, with unfortunately tomorrow being, I hate to say, the worst day. Weather-wise, though, it's going to be probably the worst day out of the next 5. So that's not great news. People want to be on the lakes, but if you have an extended weekend, there'll be many dry hours mixed in on Friday, Saturday, and possibly even into Sunday. So we'll get them in. Just not tomorrow.
Yeah, here's the thing. It happens. It's the weather. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what day it falls on. We just have to roll with it. And I've been getting reports from a number of areas who's got too much rain. And this is coming to me through some social media channels. Western Kentucky's good. Kansas is dry. Let's see. South Dakota, as we know, a lot of parts of South Dakota, North Dakota, West Central Minnesota, very wet. Northwest North Dakota would like some rain. They had a great start, but now they know that the hot, dry weather's coming. Illinois feels like they're okay because they have a lot of tiling and hills. And really, the number of places just in our region are the ones who are most concerned.
It has been wet, especially south of here into Lakes Country. Boy, oh boy.
Parker's Prairie got, what was that, 4 to 6 inches of rain just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a fun amount
there's
of
only
rainfall.
there's really only so much we can do. But they'll
Indeed,
take what they
unfortunately,
get, right?
there's more rain. I don't know. My garden, I've had to water my garden one time so far this year, and it's a little tacky in there. I was actually just in there yesterday picking some squash, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a little tacky even for a small garden. But that wasn't too long after the 3 inches of rain we got here in Grand Forks. How's your Bridgette? How's your garden handling the rainfall? Things doing okay, or do you think it's affecting them?
I think it's a little bit behind. Of course, planted late. Didn't plant until at the beginning of June, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get caught up. But so far, so good. I mean, it's starting to look better.
That's good. And Dean, you didn't put your garden in this year, did you?
No, I did not. The cow in the basement.
Your little patio garden.
I'm still tending to that cow in the basement, and the neighbors just got some goats, so I've been too busy with those two. Haven't been. I didn't have a chance to get the garden planted this year. Maybe next year.
I see. Well, interesting. You'll have to work on that patio garden, Dean. I'm telling you, the little 5-gallon buckets will work just fine for you because you don't have much of a yard to dig up.
Well, the problem is,
if you were to put a garden in, you'd probably dig up most of your yard.
Well, what I'm worried about is the neighbor goats. They often get out, and if they're getting out, they're gonna come right over and eat whatever's in the buckets.
Here's the trick. So one of those buckets that you're planting, just do a ghost pepper or a habanero or a scorpion or a granddaddy.
That'll stop them in their. That'll stop them in their tracks. That's good thinking.
You only learns one time. You see, I did that to my dog one time because he kept on eating the. Well, it wasn't a pepper. It was hot sauce. It wasn't a pepper, and he kept eating the plants in the house. So he'd eat the same spot. So we put a little dash of Tabasco sauce on the leaves, which ultimately killed the leaves. But he only ate that plant one time, and he never came back to eat it.
Dogs are smart. They
are very smart.
I'm not sure goats are that smart.
The Tabasco.
I'm just not sure goats are that
surprised. Smart. They startle easy, but they're smart.
Okay.
Well, they must be smart. Remember, they have a nicotine habit. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure our guest is going to have a link to get on today, so I'm diligently working over here in the background playing IT Master.
Well, you passenger pigeons.
Yeah, you go with that, Bridgette, and we'll give the forecast here. The rest of today looks pretty good. We're looking at partly cloudy skies and a little breezy out of the west. We'll have highs in the low 80s. Again, those west winds about 10 to 20 and a little higher at times. Clouds will thicken up tonight. We'll drop down to a low near 60 with light winds out of the west. We'll have light winds on Thursday. System rides in from the west, and we'll see showers and maybe a few thunder showers developing in the afternoon. The main threat for heavier rain is from the I-94 corridor southward. Areas of the northern valley, northwest Minnesota, probably seeing just scattered stuff throughout the day. Most of this should be out of here by 9 o'clock, so that, with the exception of Lakes Country, and that will lead to, well, the fireworks displays. Weather should not play a part in that. After a high tomorrow in the mid to upper 70s, we'll warm it up into the low 80s on Friday. Friday doesn't look to be a bad day. We'll have a dry start to the day, and then we'll build those afternoon cumulus clouds. Could see some showers developing late afternoon into the evening. Nothing widespread, though. And kind of the same thing over the weekend. Hit and miss storms, mainly afternoon and evening, with highs in the upper 70s to near 80. We'll continue this pattern into Monday even before next week we finally start to see signs of a heat ridge building in by the middle and end of next week. So if you're a fan of the summer heat and you want some 90s in the forecast, looks like we'll have some 80s and maybe a few 90s in the forecast by the end of next week, with drier conditions too.
That'll be okay. We've got a lot of crop that needs to catch up. I mean, We're looking at some corn that's only knee high, some that's shoulder high. I saw pictures from southern Missouri today. Their corn crop looks really good. In fact, it's actually even tasseling out. So I feel like that's very early and progressing rather quickly. But they've had more heat than we have and maybe not quite as much moisture, and they plant earlier. At least they certainly did this year.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got
changes.
We've got John on line one. John, happy early 4th of July. What's on your mind, buddy?
Yeah, sure. Hey, the fair is in town.
What about it?
It is.
Did you know that?
And we're going to talk more about it today after 1:30, John.
Exactly. And, you find the most interesting thing around the fair dumpsters. And it got me to thinking. And I'm getting ready to put it in the lobby of the WAG Studios.
Moly.
I found
What are you doing?
What do we find?
Whack-a-mole. I found an old whack-a-mole game. And,
No
you guys
way.
are always talking about pop-up storms or hidden miss storms. So I replicated complete with the monkey tail, a whole bunch of little Justin Storms, and then I put a Dean Wysocki one in there, which is a bonus points, and the mega score points is the mega
Me.
score
Do I get
points
the paddle?
one is who is it, Dean?
Do I get the paddle?
Who is the mega point score?
Got to be Bridgette.
Yeah, you do. Nope. Jim Cantori.
Jesus.
Wow. John, you've got way too much time on your hands.
Well, I figure the way Dean gives away thermometers sometimes, that Mr. H needs to earn some of his money back. So I put it down in the lobby, and it's a quarter a play, and you can come in and have all the fun you want.
Awesome. John, thanks so much, buddy. Have a good 4th.
See ya.
Wow.
That sounds like fun. I'm all for it at this point.
Hey, if John
I hope he's not kidding. I hope it's down there.
If he put all that effort into it, I hope it's real.
We're framing it. We're putting it in the office, and there we go.
A quarter to play, we can make some money off of this.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to stop by and play that game. That's perfect.
Man.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Oh, and
see,
John, if John's John's still listening. John, everybody here at the station wanted to thank you. So when John goes to Chicago, he'll ask me what I want from Chicago. So I'm like, bring back some Chicago dogs that you can't purchase around here. So he brought back 3 packages of hot dogs, Chicago dogs, and some potato chips from back in Chicago that you can't get here. So we fed the staff, whoever's here today, not already on holiday. So they all wanted to give John a big thank you for lunch today. So John, thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where did you say
Very
they
nice.
came from?
Chicago.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So good. Hey, we've got our guest.
Excellent.
It looks like our guest just signed on, so I think he's ready to go.
Hope so. We'll have a guest coming up here in our 120 segment. We also have a different guest. We've got two different people coming on today. So our first guest will be here with us talking about Dairyland seed, because that's the seed that we are using for our Here We Grow project. That's where we're custom farming 20 acres of corn. And also to our other sponsors, yesterday we had Mark Wagner with ND Estate Services. Thank you, Mark. He did a great job of talking about farm transitions with us, helped us out there. And also we have other sponsors like Red River Retention Authority. Brian Feuder is going to join us next week. We're going to talk about infrastructure, all the water that's been moving through this area, and how the Red River Retention Authority can be a part of helping with that. And then also Gowan Company. Marcia Van Leer is with Gowan USA. She's our regional representative, and she has provided us with a fungicide for our corn. And when we talk with Dairyland today, we can talk a little bit about, are we going to need to fungicide our corn? Because it's been super wet. And then additionally, on our 1:30 hour today, or 1:30 segment, we have with us Erin Franz. She is with the Red River Valley Fair, because as John mentioned, the fair is going on. And what's new and exciting at the fair? Well, their schedule, their lineup, and all of the things that happen with their ag projects and so forth out there will be things we want to talk about. So we have a lot going on this hour.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the old mushrooms. I was mowing my yard the other day in between the downpours with my 50 horsepower Mercury engine slapped on the back of it. Got a bunch of mushrooms in my yard. Mm-hmm.
I do too. That's just happening with the weather that we've had. I don't think that's terribly unusual. What is unusual is that we're green this late in the season. By this point in time, many of us just give up on our lawns and expect it to be dry. But with the moisture we've had, that is still progressing for a lot of folks.
Now, with the amount of moisture we got, I think we're good for another 6 weeks.
Well,
Especially if you leave your grass long.
That's true. And some of you really like to do that too. So, well, as we move through our conversations today, if you have questions about not only our Here We Grow project, our Dairyland seed that's in the project, as well as with Red River Valley Fair and the weather and so much more, you can call us on the Red Wing Shoe line, 701-293-9000. We'll take your emails, weather or ag, at flagfamily.com. Thanks for watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and Acres TV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our first guest of the hour right after this.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 121 on this afternoon. If you want to be a part of the conversation, ask some questions, feel free to do so. Give us a call on the Red Wing Shoe line, 701-293-9000, or email weatherorag@flagfamily.com. Introducing our guest in this segment, that's going to be Randy from Dairyland Seed, which is a Here We Grow sponsor. So Randy, thanks for being a part of the journey on Here We Grow and sponsoring this project. How are you doing today?
Doing real well, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Tell me a little bit about Dairyland Seed. You know, our listening audience is about half ag, half urban, so a good handful of listeners have no idea what Dairyland Seed is. Maybe if you want to explain that just a little bit to some of those listeners.
Okay, Dairyland Seed started in 1908 under a different name in Wisconsin. And through several reiterations, it was finally named Dairyland Seed, I believe, in the mid-70s. Before that, it was called Strakota Seed, after the family that founded the company. Did business as Dairyland all the way up until 2008, independently. In 2008, they formed a partnership with Dow AgroSciences and were purchased by Dow AgroSciences, continued to do business until 2018, when Dow AgroSciences and DuPont merged to create Corteva. So Dairyland is a brand name, but it is under the Corteva umbrella. Basically located in Michigan, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota, and Minnesota.
Right. So it's more, you guys do a lot of seed production, right?
Yep. Corteva does
Awesome.
that. And we get our production and varietal selection and all of that from Corteva breeding.
I see. Well, hey, you've been out recently at our fields where our corn is grown with Dairyland Seed. And what do you think it looks like right now? What's your opinion on it?
Well, I would have liked it to be a little bit drier out, but it is what it is. There's some moisture stress out there. You can see a little yellowing. Haven't been past there for probably a week. Where the water would pond a little bit, you can tell it's a little yellow. But I know our cooperator was out there side dressing, so it should respond well to side dressing. I do believe they got a little rain last night also. So when I was there, it did look real good.
And Randy, so we've got the long-term forecast after this week and into early next week is more heat building in. And we're looking at more 80s and 90s and more dry weather that'll be coming into the area with lesser chances for rain. How will that improve the crop? How will that improve our corn?
The corn needs heat to grow. We have been a little bit on the cool side, but I looked up the end-on stats. We're not really all that far behind. As of today, that particular field has 780 accumulated GDUs. By the time we get to 1,140 GDUs, we should be able to see some silts coming out of the cobs.
Okay, so are we at a stage where we can go ahead and do some fungicide if we were going to do it? Is our corn too tall? Because we do have a Fiance fungicide from Gowan as an opportunity in our corn. That's not necessarily a common practice in this region. Any hows, whys, or suggestions for it?
I think I would have to visit the label a little bit. I'm not real familiar with that fungicide. I would have to look at, the application window. Fungicide generally, as a rule, is not a bad idea. But this particular variety of Dairyland Seed, in the description, it says response to fungicide, maybe not so much. However, I do know that in Illinois and Iowa and southern Minnesota, they're starting to detect a disease called tar spot, which can be absolutely devastating. We haven't had tar spot up in this neck of the woods ever, as I can recall, but it has been moving this way for the last year or two.
Okay, so for tar spot, that's not here yet, but what do we normally see? Have you watched anybody spraying or planning ahead anyway in their seed purchases for Goss's wilt, for gray leaf spot or any of those types of things? Or have we really been kind of in the clear as of late?
Well, every once in a while we can get Goss's wilt, but the thing to remember about a corn variety is they're trying to breed natural resistance to some of these diseases into the variety. So this particular variety, which is 3159 Dairyland, it's a 91-day variety. We rate it northern corn leaf blight as a 2, 1 being the best. We also rate it as a 2 on Goss's wilt. Those would be the 2 that we would primarily look at. Other diseases that we can get that we can't necessarily do anything about this time of year, sometimes root-borne diseases like crown rot. Sometimes fungicides may help on the crown rot, sometimes not at all.
And Randy, you've been out to our fields, and obviously there's a little, like you said, moisture stress. Assuming we get the drier weather coming in here, which we will, we're going to get the heat building in late next week. But the way it looks right now is we're not going to get any extended heat. In other words, we'll get 3-4 days of heat, and then we get a Canadian air mass to slide in. Then the heat builds back in, Canadian air mass slides in. It looks like that's going to be the pattern over the next few weeks, if not a little longer. Assuming that is the pattern that sets up, let's say, for the rest of the summer, what would be your best guess on our yield output?
Putting
you on the spot there.
This variety is totally capable of, north of 240 bushels. As a matter of fact, we've seen it in that general area in plots do that well. But those were the last 2 years where we were maybe a little shorter on moisture. This particular variety that we're using, we rate as a 1 on drought tolerance. So it can handle the dry weather. And it's good in heavy clay soils, which you guys know that's where we're at in that field, heavy clay soils. But I don't want... I have a phrase that states unrealistically high expectations are just premature disappointments. So I think 200 bushels is still in the realm of possibility, but we just have to see what the rest of the growing season does.
And Justin, right. What was your guess? 250?
225.
No,
225. Okay.
Right.
225 was my guess at the beginning of the year.
Now, Randy, would any wind help to dry things out? Would that help the crop out a little bit?
Yeah, as long as it's under 30 miles an hour. Anything more than that, then we tend to get some green snap issues in certain varieties.
I'm here to help.
The root system can kind of let go, especially as saturated as we are. You got to have really good roots in situations like this when we're this saturated. If we get a strong wind, it'll actually root lodge. It'll tip the plant over, not bending or breaking the stalk, but actually by pulling the roots out of the ground. So you want a good variety that can withstand that. And this one's a pretty good one. If we can keep air moving through the canopy, that's always good. Help dry it out. We don't need any, dews that hang around until lunchtime or 1 o'clock. That really promotes a lot of diseases, especially when it's going to be, mid 80s.
I laughed at that because I've totally noticed that in my yard where it's still dewy and wet at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, where years past it's like dry at 8. So sorry if I was chuckling at that, but you had mentioned something earlier when you said our seed was rated at a 1 for drought tolerance, meaning that it's adapted well or bred to do well in drought conditions. Now, if a seed variety is labeled that way and bred that way, does it also mean that it's not as tolerant to being wet, or is it still kind of keep that other end of adaptability, or does it kind of all get shifted towards being a drier variety of corn?
Some people argue. I believe that this particular variety is going to do just fine with all the moisture we got. We do need it to get dry. I'd really like this variety to dry up out there so those roots under that plant can chase the moisture down and go deeper and strengthen that root system. It is good on roots. When I was out there, we had some heavy weather. Never saw anything that was tipped over or green snap, so it's holding up pretty good. But you have to also remember that we're getting into a time during the growth stage where they grow really fast, especially if it's warm out. And when it grows really fast, it kind of weakens some of the stalk and the interconnected tissue. It just is growing so fast, it's not real strong. If we do get heavy weather during that time, we can, on a lot of different varieties, especially with wind and rain, see some what they call the green snap, where it's grown too fast, it becomes very brittle, and it'll snap right off. Hopefully we don't have any of that.
Yeah. And Randy, if anybody wants more information on Dairyland Seed, what's the best way to get a hold of you or find out more information?
Our website, dairylandseed.com. Find all sorts of information on varieties, on yield, towards your location. You can also find your closest rep to you, your closest dealer. So, yeah, dairylandseed.com.
Great. And Randy, do you happen to have one of our WDAY rain gauges by chance?
As a matter of fact, I do.
You do? All right. Well, we were going to give you an opportunity to win one, but you had to guess who this is.
I just thought I'd give you the win sound effects. I'm here to help.
Any clue?
Yeah, I know her. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we were gonna send you one if you could guess that wonderful voice, but as long as you already have one, I guess we'll hold off. Maybe we could send you one. You can give it to somebody else.
You know what we should do is we should take one and plant it at Here We Grow.
There you go. See, I like that thinking.
See, why haven't we done that yet?
No, well, see, Randy's got the good ideas. Well, Randy, we want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you have yourself a great 4th of July and 4th of July weekend.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You bet. All right. And Bridgette, we've got another guest coming up after the break, do we not? You said?
We do. We will be joined by Erin. She is with the Red River Valley Fair Marketing. We're going to talk all about the fair and what the changes are for this year. So stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. So glad that you're able to join us this afternoon. Thank you for taking that time. We are joined today with another guest. It's been a busy day here. We're going to talk with Aaron Franz. Aaron is with the marketing group over at the Red River Valley Fair. Marketing and events, that is. And so, Aaron, we wanted to know, how's the fair gone? Because it's been a little different schedule this year than most. Care to explain?
Yeah, so our first weekend was awesome, and that being said, we have switched to a 3-weekend format. So last weekend was our first weekend, and then we've been closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll reopen on Thursday, be open through the weekend, and then again, be closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and be open our last weekend. So a little bit different, but something that's going around the fair world and has been shown to work. So we're looking forward to seeing how it goes for our fair.
So, Aaron, what changed from the first weekend to coming up to this weekend? Was it like a total reset of the events, or what's going to be the new things that people should be stopping by to see for this block of days?
Yeah, so we have concerts every single night. We will have Hairball tomorrow, Young Gravy on Friday, Ludacris on Saturday, and Skillet on Sunday. And this week is the 4th of July. So we've never been open during the 4th of July. So that'll be new for us as well. And gate admission is free that day. So even better for the community.
And Aaron, is the concert tomorrow night? Is Hairball rain or shine?
It is rain or shine. So they make the final decision on everything. But we plan on still going and playing in the rain. If hopefully it doesn't happen, but we'll see.
It looks like it should be done by close to 9 o'clock. So hopefully that works out.
Yep. And we posted on Facebook and our website today. We did move the concert up a little bit. So our opener is going to go on at 7 instead of 8. And then get Hairball on there at 8:30 to play a little bit and still hopefully sneak in a fireworks show before 10:30. So hoping for the best, but we'll see what Mother Nature gives us.
And so, full carnival exhibits. What are some of the things that people are going to do besides the concerts out there, Aaron?
Yeah, so we always like to say that the concerts and the midway, the rides are awesome, but truly the heart of our fair is that agriculture focus. So we recently renovated our Ag Education Center and put over $1 million in renovations to that. And it's awesome. It is state-of-the-art, innovative, and truly teaches people in Fargo-Moorhead all they need to know about ag education. So if you have a chance to go and look at that. It's free with gate admission. We also added in a birthing center this year. So we have 4 cows that still are pregnant and ready to give birth right during fair. So we haven't had 1 calf born and joined our fair family, but that's a fun new feature that we've introduced this year.
Aaron, what's been some of the feedback from people attending the new ag buildings and the renovations? What are their thoughts on it?
It is really, really fun to watch people walk in and see all the improvements we made. Something as small as we haven't had working bathrooms in there in probably 25 years, and having 4 bathrooms and an adult changing table in there might seem small to some people, but it's awesome. We're also the only place in the world that we know of that has actual corn in our floor. So we worked with a farm, one of our board members. He harvested his corn, dried it, and then we epoxied it in. So it's almost like you're walking on a grain bin.
Super
interesting.
Cool.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
what have the comments been from those who have experienced that, who walked in and saw the new floor and said, "Oh, my corn"?
Yeah, they don't realize that it's real corn until you're actually standing on top of it. So again, their jaws just drop, their eyes get wide, and it's something that you'll never experience anywhere else.
Pet and hot. So besides what we're seeing in those static exhibits, What's being shown? Because didn't we just do a bunch of livestock events this past weekend? I want to say for sure chickens and probably hogs, but what else is up and coming?
Yep. So we had our first livestock show on Saturday last week. So our kiddos showed goats, lambs, pigs, poultry, and rabbits. So it's a pretty busy weekend. And then we had our auction on Monday as well. So some of those kids walked away with some awesome cash donations. So that was exciting to see. And then we have our open show coming up this weekend too. So same thing, they'll show pigs, goats, lambs, and it's just an awesome thing to see. It's been my first livestock show to actually see, and it's so heartwarming. The kids work so hard, and it's so fun to see their hard work pay off.
So, Erin, if that's the first livestock show you've seen, what did you think?
I told Emily, our chief ag officer, I was watching it, and I teared up. Just seeing the passion that those kids have for their animals, the dedication they've had to take care of them every single day, it was amazing. And we have a livestock enrichment program here at the fair that we work with our foundation. We have kids that keep their animals out at the fairgrounds. They come every day, feed their animals. We cover all the costs, and they show at the fair. So I've gotten to know those kids really, really well and seen the hard work they put into it, and seeing it come to fruition this weekend was really, really touching and really impressive.
That's good. Cool. We've kind of touched a little bit about the new ag buildings and some of the things that are going on over there. I believe you got a new simulator as well, don't you?
Yes. So we are the first location for an immersive reality room in the United States. Immersive reality is out of the United Kingdom. And it's mind-blowing. I got to see it at full power this week, and just the possibilities with the room is endless. But it's basically a virtual reality headset, but you don't need the headset. You walk into the room, and it's like you're in a cornfield, or you're surrounded by goats, everything like that, and you can touch the walls. It gives you more information, and they're working with us to truly learn what we want to teach the community and what we want to see with the program. And they've told us the sky is the limit. Anything is possible. So there's nowhere like it in the United States. So you should really, really come out and check that out.
It sounds really interesting, and I'm hoping to be able to make it out there so that way I can see what that's like, because it's very interesting to me, especially with just the whole virtual reality and immersiveness that VR is to begin with, yet alone having a whole room like that. Anything coming up this weekend or even into next week, ag-related, any featured exhibits, anything like that? I know you'd kind of touched a little bit about the birthing centers, but is there any specific things planned coming up on a specific day, ag-wise?
Not specific day-wise. We do have some new exhibits that are just being delivered in the Ag Center actually right now. We're finishing building them up. So even though we did our grand opening, we're always making improvements in there. So check out some of our new interactive exhibits. Like I said, we have the open show this weekend as well on Friday and Saturday. So that'll be fun to watch. And then hopefully we'll see a birth. We haven't had one during fair yet, so crossing our fingers for that.
I hope so too. And that would be excellent for people to stop in and see it. And Erin, if anyone's listening and they want more information, what's your website where we can direct folks to go check it all out?
Yeah, redrivervalleyfair.com. And all of our fair information is under Fair Fun in our fun guide. So that has our full schedule of events, sponsors, everything that you're looking for would be right in there.
Perfect. That sounds like that's going to be super helpful. Thank you, Erin, for joining us today to share what's going on with the Red River Valley Fair, because there's still plenty of time to get there this weekend and next, correct?
Correct. We'll hope we see everybody at the best days of summer.
Wonderful. Thank you, Erin. And folks, for all of you who are listening, you want to make sure that you have the solid 4th of July forecast. We're going to do that when we return, probably touch on a few ag headlines that are going on out there in the wide world of, well, weeds, farming, livestock, and so much more. So stay tuned. Oh, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for being here for Weather and Ag in Focus. And it has been a great day of visiting with a number of guests. Don't forget, if you have questions, you can always reach us at 701-293-9000. That is the Red Wing shoe line. And thank you to Teresa and the gang over on Main Avenue for the great work that they do. If you're thinking about work boots later on this season, time to stop on in. Make sure she's got what you want. Size is all fitted right to your specifications. Well, gentlemen, coming up on the 4th of July weekend, how about some weather? Want to cover what it's going to look like for the next few days? I heard you say a bit warmer weather all the way into next week. So what's the chances?
Well, the warmer weather is going to have to wait till next week. Although today, not bad. There's one lone thunder.
That's warm enough.
Well, for you it is, man.
You're 80. That's perfect, man.
Our corn needs some 90-degree weather, okay? Quit being so selfish. Man, It's all for the corn.
It's all about the corn.
Man, come on.
All for the corn.
That's right. We're at 80.
My life, you're all breathing in my air.
Yeah. One lone thunder shower in the far northern valley. And far northern valley, north of Grand Forks into far northwest Minnesota could see an isolated thunder shower this afternoon. But from central southern valley should remain dry under partly cloudy skies. A little breezy, but still not bad. Highs in the low 80s today. Tonight, we'll start to cloud things up a bit with lows near 60, and we'll see some afternoon showers and storms developing across the area, especially central and southern valley for tomorrow. So it looks like kind of a wet fourth with highs in the 70s. Most of that should be out of here, at least in the FM area, by around 9 o'clock at night. And then we're looking at partly cloudy on Friday, scattered late afternoon showers and storms with highs in the low 80s. And then we're in the 70s over the weekend, with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll have dry hours mixed in as well. But it's later next week, Tuesday onward. That's when we start to see warmer weather build in and drier weather as well. I think by the end of next week, we'll probably be, if not at 90, in the 90s across the area. So if you like the summer heat, there you go. Oh, Justin.
Or if you don't.
Justin's sending me a message in our internal messaging system. You bet it rains at
pigeon.
You bet it rains at 7:45. Are you talking tonight or are you talking tomorrow?
Oh, it'll rain tomorrow.
What are you saying?
For sure.
You bet it rains at 7:45. PM?
I bet it rains at 7:45. Yeah,
in the morning or PM?
No, PM.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it'll probably rain up until 9. I thought you wanted to bet.
No, yeah, sure. Well, I'm always down for a good bet, but we can discuss that after the show.
Okay.
We will actually bet on anything in this show. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've got.
Oh, hey, guess what I bought?
What'd you get?
What?
I got some that famous vanilla ice cream from Pride Dairy.
Oh, did you? So did I. That stuff is awesome.
It's so good.
Where'd you get it?
It's a little spendy, but it's so good. I got it at Hugo's.
Okay.
Wait,
It's
it
like
was on sale at
Hornbachers, but
Hornbachers
better
this week.
and further north.
Yeah, I bought some this week. It was on sale, so everybody rush out to the freezer section and pick it up. I also bought a tub of the Juneberry because it's summer, it's July, and it's National Ice Cream Month. So get it while you can. In fact,
I almost got the maple nut.
Oh.
Gonna have to try that. Hey,
but
we got
Sterling's allergic to nuts.
Hey guys, we got Todd on line 1 just called in here. Todd, what's going on today?
Hey, I got a question with regard to this recent minor flooding.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering if you could tell us how much of this could be attributed to the increased amount of fields that are drain tiled.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go,
so,
Bridgette.
Todd, for the most part, Todd, it's not, because only about 10% of the fields in the Red River Valley are tiled. What we are seeing, though, with tiling as well is it only helps drain what you have for surface moisture. It's going to allow that water to move down through the tiling, move it out to try to get it off the fields. It doesn't change what's in the soil. It's only taking water when the soils are completely saturated. And when we have these heavy rains at such a fast-moving pace, that's going to be on top. We're going to try to take as much into the profile as we can. There will be some that moves. Drain tile is not a leading contributor to flooding. And in fact, it's great that you asked that question. That helps me queue up for you the fact that we will indeed have Levi Otis with Ellingson Drainage joining us on July 16th. This is a topic he certainly wants to address, as well as how we can find ways to reuse that water and use the tiling to manage potential erosion problems and prevent them. So Todd, stick with us. Make sure you're listening on July 16th when we have Levi as a part of our conversation. Thanks so much for your call.
There hasn't
that was a good
really
question.
been much flooding on the Red, though.
No, we've been pretty low, but in past years, especially if you look back to when we had major flood stages in 1997, we also had major floods in, was it 09, etc. Those were years we hadn't really started to tile yet. And I will never forget going to Big Iron in probably the very early 2000s, let's say like 2005. And for the first time seeing like one small booth with one little tiling company at Big Iron. So we've really only started to do some tiling in the Red River Valley in probably the last 15 years that it's really started to grow. But overall, as far as how much does it attribute to our additional flooding in the valley, very little. Also, Brian Feuder, who will be with us next week, Brian is going to be on with us next Wednesday, the 10th. Brian can also help us talk about what tiling can do as an improvement, and then also what the Red River Retention Authority is doing to try to find places to hold water to prevent flooding downstream. So all good conversations. Lots to come this month, you guys.
Indeed, yes, it is. And I think that'll about wrap it up for our show today. We're not going to be on tomorrow because of the 4th of July. And then, Bridgette, you're in studio on Friday with a special guest host.
We will. We'll have a host on Friday.
Or if you just want to leave it at that.
Well, if I tease too much, who's going to be here to listen? So you're all going to want to tune in on Friday and see what happens.
Yeah, we got the Jay Thomas show coming up next. I believe Justin from the Lakes is in today. So everyone have a great rest of your day. Have a great 4th of July weekend. And we're going to go off the rails. So have a good weekend, guys.